Hi everyone, how are we all doing? Let me know in the chat box if you can hear me all right. We'll give it a few minutes, let everybody get in, get settled, and then we'll kick things off. Super excited to be here, super excited to get this going. So yeah, we'll give it a few minutes and then we'll get going. But yeah, make sure you can hear me all right. If there's anybody that can't hear me, let me know. Again, if you've got any problems with the stream, just let me know in the comments. Make sure if you've referred anyone and you've got any friends or family coming along, make sure you let them know that they need to be getting on, because we're going to be starting in a few minutes. I'm very well, thank you, Jamie. We've got a really good session to go through today to start. Very excited. Still got lots of people joining. Slowly but surely people are getting in. Andrew, can you hear me? Might have been because I wasn't speaking. But people, before we get started, a quick show of hands. Who here is a complete newbie when it comes to trading? Who has never traded before? Stick a thumbs up in the comment section, let me know. I can see a few familiar faces in there already. All right, we'll probably get started at about 5 past. Let everyone get in. Yes, this will be recorded, so tomorrow you will get an email with access to our event library. This is where all of the event lessons will be uploaded to, so you have a little section that you can go through and watch them back. They will only be available for a limited time only. I'm not going to leave this open, so if you've registered, then you'll be able to get access to that. But if you haven't, then it's gonna disappear shortly. Been learning but not actually traded yet? Well, you're in the right place. Look at the dollar pairs right now. This seems like I need to look at the dollar pairs right now. Oh yeah, super spiky. We must have had some fundamentals just come out. Okay, it looks like we're sort of hovering around the right people. So we'll wait until 5 past and then we'll get going. Again, guys, any questions or anything like that during the event, just stick them in the comment section. I'll try and keep an eye on the comment section as I'm going through the lessons, through the sessions. So again, if you've got any questions, just stick them straight in the comment section and I'll try and get back to them as soon as we can. Okay, let's get started. 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Listen guys, so in my years of business, I've quite literally never seen as much opportunity as we are seeing today. The world is literally being built around people that want to step outside of that social construct and get outside and do something for themselves and become self-sufficient. People are coming out of lockdown, coming out of the previous COVID crisis after having a little taster for that work from home life. They've got a new lease of life, a spring in their step, and they want to make that a full-time thing. They want to make that work from home life, that freedom, actually go into fruition. And honestly, right now it's just never been this easy to work from home, to make money online, and to do something for yourself. Now, literally, even through this COVID crisis, where big companies were going bust, I was quite literally seeing thousands of people using these exact methods that you're going to be learning through this session, making hundreds of thousands of pounds. And right now is the single biggest opportunity I've ever seen for people to start and scale a bulletproof 6-figure income online. And guys, I'm super, super excited to be here and not only celebrate the launch of my new company, WeTrade, but to run the first ever Pip Camp free live trading bootcamp. So let's get straight into it. So then let's just have a quick overview of what this event is all about. So Pip Camp Season 1, I've put this together to give you all a roadmap so you know the exact formula of how you can go from 0 to 10K per month as a trader. Now just a quick sort of overview of the event schedule and how I plan on things to go. So week 1, which is this week, we're obviously starting with the first lesson, the first session, which is the true opportunity of freedom, which is what we're going to be going through today. Tomorrow we're going to be going on to assembling your battleship. So again, same time tomorrow, we're going to be looking at assembling your battleship, where we're going to look at how we can put together all of the tools, all of the systems, all of the platforms that you need in order to become a successful 6-figure trader. I'm then going to leave you over the weekend to stew on some of the knowledge that we go through today and tomorrow. And then in week 2, where we will be starting on Monday, the first lesson we're going to be having a look at is the cheat code to 10K per month. Okay, so how you can actually build that 10K per month business without having to invest tens or even hundreds of thousands of pounds of your own money. We're finally then going to get onto what it really takes to win in the financial markets, where we're going to be looking at some of the tips, tricks, and hacks you can use to actually make this happen and for this to come into fruition and make this real life for you. And then I'm going to end things with just a bonus episode. So once you've gone through all of the actual sessions and you've got all of the practical knowledge to go away and actually put things into practice, I'm going to do a little Q&A session at the end. So if you have any questions that you need me to answer, I'm going to dedicate a full session to that Q&A. Now the link to that will be posted in the Telegram channel, so make sure you're in that. Make sure you're in that before the end of the event. Now again, just to do a little bit of housekeeping before we get set up, we are going to be running a giveaway that we'll be announcing the winners to at the end of the event. We're likely going to be announcing those at the Q&A session. First place to the person that gets the most referrals to the event is going to get a MacBook. Second place, an iPad, and then we're going to give away free AirPods Pros for 3rd, 4th, and 5th. So if you haven't already, go over to the link generator, generate your link, and you'll be able to share the event with friends, family, put it on your social medias, wherever you believe you can get people to sign up, get them signed up. And then any active people that come along and watch through the event with you, they will count towards the giveaway. Okay, so again, it's just a little free giveaway, so it's always worth entering. Okay, and again, even if you only get 4 or 5 people, that could be the difference of you taking a MacBook or nothing. Finally, again, I've already touched on this one, but if you're not already, make sure you join the Telegram channel. That's where we're going to be announcing the winners. That's where we're going to be giving you exclusive bonus content and all event updates. Okay, so if you're not in the Telegram channel, make sure after this event, after this session, you join it. You'll have it in your welcome email. So yeah, make sure you get involved in there. So then, kicking things off, who am I and why should you listen to me? Well, of course, my name is George Lymph. For any of you that don't know me, again, I'm here. And this is where my journey started. So anybody that in the south of England, you're likely to know this place. Okay, so this is where everything started for me at Chichester College. Little young George, I had this magical game plan. Okay, so year 1, I planned to study graphic design. Year 2, I was going to study business. And then at the end of that, I planned to go and start a clothing brand. So again, like many teenagers, like many young men and women, we have that dream of starting a clothing brand. Again, I imagine there's probably many of you in here that have had that dream of actually starting a clothing brand. It's a very sort of stereotypical wannabe business person's type of business model. Again, starting a clothing brand, it seems so glamorous. And again, I was no different. I was exactly the same as that. So the game plan was set, and I was sort of very, very set on it, but this is kind of how it went. So year 1, I got through graphic design. I did that. I really enjoyed that. That was something that I'd been passionate about for quite a long time, which was one of the reasons why I actually wanted to do graphic design and start a clothing brand in the first place. So I got through year 1, and it was kind of rocky because I hated education, but got through year 1, started year 2, where I was going to go and do business, and I was going to learn all about business. I got 2 weeks into it and I thought, nah, no way, this is not for me. So instead of sticking out that whole 2 years, I did 1 year and 2 weeks and I dropped out. And instead, I just decided to go full hog and start the clothing brand there and then. And just like magic, it sort of popped up. I built the website, I did the branding, I registered the company. I did all of the designs. I was working with the manufacturers. I was getting samples. Again, I had the whole business set up. Everything was ready to go. But fundamentally, there was a lot of flaws in that business. And I very quickly realized that in order for me to get a business like this off the ground, I was going to need a ton of money. I was going to need a ton of time. It was going to give me limited freedom. Eventually, I'd need a big team of people, and it'd be very, very difficult to scale. So after really making my first order, my first batch of clothes, they came in. And then I was sort of stuck there. I had, I can't even remember exactly how many, but I had boxes of clothes. And then I thought to myself, okay, well, I've got these clothes. How am I going to sell them? Because I've now got no money to go and market the products to sell them. So I was sort of left myself in a bit of a rut. And very quickly that business went on to fail. But again, I was still that young entrepreneur. I wanted to do something. I called it quits with that. So again, I was on high alert. I was looking for the next opportunity. And this is one of my schoolmates from school, obviously. And I kept seeing him all over Twitter, all over Facebook, all over Instagram, talking about this Forex thing. I spoke to him. We had a bit of a chat. He told me all about it and how it worked. He was actually marketing for some signal service, I believe. And lo and behold, he signed me up. He got me started. Again, this was way, way, way back. 7 or so years now. I can't remember exactly how long it was, but about 7 or so years. And yeah, I decided to give it a go. Now fast forward 6 years. Again, this was me losing money, making a bit of money, going bust, trying different things. Just compressing that journey, but let's fast forward 6 years to essentially where I am today. I've now made multiple millions from trading. I've been able to travel the world, taken care of my family, lived that life that I always used to dream of. And in the process, I've helped thousands of people start and scale their own trading careers as well. Okay, so again, just to put a very, just sort of speed across that process there. I started with that dream of being in business. Again, like a lot of people, very stereotypical, wanting to start a clothing business. Tried that, failed at that. Very, very luckily fell into trading. And then for some reason it stuck, and I managed to do quite well at it and managed to make a decent living out of it as well. So it's safe to say I know a thing or two about, number one, making money online, and number two, making money through Forex. So then in today's session, we're going to be looking at the true opportunity of freedom. Okay, and I want to explain to you really why I'm so passionate about the trading and the Forex business model, and just give you a little bit of an insight as to how it works for those of you that perhaps aren't too clued up on it. So firstly, what is freedom? Okay. There's a couple of definitions that I like here. Number one is the power or right to act, speak, or think as one wants. The second one is the absence of necessity, coercion, or constraint in choice or action. Okay, so what is your definition of freedom? Your definition of freedom could come in many shapes and sizes. So perhaps it was being able to travel the world full time. Again, if you're looking at the spectrums here, if you're on one end of the spectrum where it's ultimate freedom and you can go anywhere and you can travel the world, you can do what you want, it could be replacing your income so you can spend your time at home with your family instead of going to work. It may just be the fact that you don't want to continue working overtime. You want to be able to make a little bit of money on the side so you can perhaps spend a little bit more time doing the things that you want. It may be making a little extra money on the side so you can enjoy your weekends or have better holidays or just cover your mortgage or rent, so perhaps your income can be used in different ways. Or even, again, the other side of the spectrum, just so you can perhaps get home from work before the sun goes down. Freedom comes in many different forms, but the governing factor here is the fact that is the ability for you to make the decision on how you want to live your life. And unfortunately, in today's society, we're not so lucky. Most people are just a slave to the system, and it's this system that leads us to believe that freedom is having 2 days off at the weekend or just 28 days holiday every single year. In life now, we're told when we wake up, what time we get to eat, when we get to go home, where you need to be every day, how much money you can earn, when you can go on holiday. Again, the list goes on and on and on. I think if we got together, we could probably list hundreds, if not thousands of reasons why today's society is so unbelievably bad. And some of the things that we're told that is just the complete opposite of having any freedom. And we're in a system where we have to trade our time for money. And if we want more money, we have to sacrifice more of our time, leading us to have even less freedom than before. Now our lives look a little bit like this. I've made this little graph on how we sort of change and how our lives are sort of depicted by the choice of whether we want time or money. We can't physically, in our social constraints, in the current ways of how we live, we can't possibly have money and time if we continue to do the same thing. We either have tons and tons of time and no money. For example, a homeless person, they're the most free of everyone, but they're lacking any money to do anything with their life. They have to sit outside a shop and beg. Or you have the people on the opposite side of the spectrum. They have so much money, but they have no time to enjoy that money at all. Okay, we're talking city bankers and people that are working in the city. Again, they're there at 6 a.m, they're back at 8 p.m. They're working 6 days a week, and then on the last day that they have a little bit of freedom, on that Sunday, they're either too exhausted to do anything or they physically haven't got the time to do anything that's meaningful. They might go and get lunch and that's about it. But again, guys, this is not your fault. We are conditioned to be this way. The way we go to school and how we're brought up and again, how our parents bring us up, we're taught in school to follow this set rule book, to be at school at a certain time, to do lessons at a certain time, to have our breaks at a certain time, to go home at a certain time, to enjoy your time at a certain time on the weekends. We're taught lessons that allow us to get jobs, that allow us to do the same thing. So again, it's nobody's fault because this is the exact way that we're all brought up. But I've literally never seen anyone regret breaking out of this social construct and doing something for themselves. And what worked for me in quite literally thousands of other people, not just in my community, but again in the world. If you look out on social media and you look at how other people are doing, quite literally thousands of people have broken out of this social construct now. And the way that, again, myself, my community, and again, thousands of other people are doing it is through Forex. It gave me all the time I could ever want, along with a good chunk of money to play with as well. So again, just to touch on the fact, what actually is for so many people in here have probably signed up and thought they'd get involved in this because they're looking for a way to make money. Okay, they finally want to start doing something for themselves, but again, they don't know what. They've tried a million different things. You may have tried e-commerce, Amazon FBA. Again, there's a million different things that people could have tried. But for those of you that don't know what Forex is, let's have a sort of brief touch on that. So what is Forex? Forex is short for foreign exchange. Okay, so similar to where the stock market is where companies are valued. Okay, so you can buy Apple stock, for example, and you see the value of that Apple stock is rising or falling. That's essentially the valuing the company Apple. Now, similar to where these stocks are valued, we also have what is called the Forex market. And the Forex market is where currencies are valued against one another. Okay, so for example, if you've ever been on holiday and you've got cash out before you've flown, you'd have participated in a Forex transaction. Okay, so again, you may have gone and got £100 worth of euros, and you'd have noticed how the amount of euros you got back varies. This is because of the exchange rate, okay, the currency exchange rate. Okay, so this rate essentially varies. So again, just a very sort of caveman example here. So for example, you go to the Bureau de Change, you exchange £100 into euros. Okay, you go into Spain, you get a bit of cash out before. The exchange rate, for example, in this transaction is 1.2. Okay, this means for that £100, you'd get £120 back. Okay, that exchange rate can differ. So one day it might be 1.1 and you'd get 110 euros. It might be 1.3 and you'd get 130 euros. Again, whatever, that exchange rate is valued on that currency market, which is essentially where we trade. But for argument's sake, let's look at this. The exchange rate is 1.2. This means you'd get 120 euros back. Now, for whatever reason, you don't spend that money. When you get home, you decide to go back to the Bureau de Change and change that money back into pounds. Now, this is where it gets interesting. In that time you've been away, the exchange rate has actually got better. Okay, so when you go and transfer those pounds or those euros back into pounds, instead of you getting your £100 back, because the exchange rate has gone up, you actually get £120 back. So you've made £20 profit. Okay, and in a nutshell, if we're looking at this at a very sort of caveman explanation of how this works, okay, very, very sort of bare to the bones of how a Forex transaction would work. This is essentially what we're doing, but on a much more granular level. Okay, much more granular level. So how do we actually trade? So we're not making a transaction every time we go on holiday. Okay, we're not going to the Bureau de Change and changing money and then going back a day later and taking that money back and making £20. Okay, we're not doing it quite like that. Now, what we can do though is we can actually make trades on a day-to-day basis where we don't actually have to buy that physical currency. Okay, we can make these trades through something that we call a trading broker. Now again, another example for you. If you wanted to go and bet on a football game, for example, you do it via a sports betting company. You don't have to actually go to that game and put money on what side's going to win. Okay, you can do it all through the sports betting app. Okay, you can go to the bookies or down the street or whatever. If we want to make a trade, we can just do this through our trading broker app. Okay, whether that be a phone or a computer, it doesn't really matter. And in basic form, what we're essentially doing is we're predicting when we believe that the currency's exchange rate will rise or fall. Now, if we're correct, we make money, and if we're wrong, we lose money. Okay, so on a very sort of granular level, it's very, very simple. What we're doing as traders is we're looking at the data on our charts, and we're making a prediction as to whether we believe the currency value is going to go up or whether the currency value is going to go down. When we make correct predictions, just as if you were going to say, okay, I want Chelsea to beat Man U, and if you're right, you'll make money, and if you're wrong, you lose that money. If we, for example, predict that the market's going to go up and the market goes up, we can make money. But if we predict that the market's going to go up and the market goes down, we can lose money. Okay, so again, if we strip it back, it is in fact very, very simple. But you may be thinking, how do you know when the price of a currency is going to rise or fall? Now, we can do something that is called technical analysis. Okay, so again, you may have seen charts that look a little bit like this in the past. Again, if you're looking at them like this, again, you probably just expect, like looking at this and thinking, oh, doesn't really mean much to me, doesn't really make much sense. Again, I don't expect you to know what it means, but we essentially get access to charts that show us the price movements of a currency pair. Okay, so for example, in this picture, this is the chart of GBP to USD. Okay, so it's essentially showing us how the exchange rate has moved for those people that want to be changing pounds into dollars. Okay, it's that simple. Now what we can do is, these charts are made up by something called candlesticks. And what we can do is we can use our different technical analysis tools to analyze what these candlesticks are telling us in order to make predictions as to where we think the market's going to go in the future. And it's these predictions and it's these strategies that allow us to essentially get an edge on the markets and be able to predict whether we're going to be going up or whether we're going to be going down. So it's not just a 50-50 gamble that like sports betting is, okay? Because in sports betting, you don't really know, okay? You can see what teams are in form and which teams aren't. Within the markets, we have patterns that repeat themselves time after time that we build strategies on that allow us to go into these charts, input these strategies, and it's going to allow us to identify with a high probability whether the market's going to be going up or whether the market's going to be going down. Again, of course, they're not 100% and it's not a dead cert, but where we've built these strategies over years and years in the markets, we've been able to get a good success rate with good risk to reward, allowing us to actually be consistently profitable and allowing us to have this as a source of income that's going to serve us very, very well. So again, we touch on that in tomorrow's lesson in a little bit more detail. But again, today I just wanted to give you a bit of an overview, a bit of a look into why this system is something that I believe everybody should be looking into. So why trading? There's tons and tons of different online business models. Okay, again, many of you have probably looked at the likes of Shopify or Amazon FBA or drop shipping or starting an e-commerce brand. Perhaps even social media marketing. Again, guys, stick it in the comments. Has anybody here tried drop shipping, FBA, e-commerce? Have you tried to start a marketing agency? Let me know if you've done any of these in the comments. But these are tons of business models that are super, super popular at the moment. I imagine there's going to be a ton of you that have done something very, very similar to this. Again, I come across people every single day that have tried Amazon FBA and just been shafted, or tried to start an e-commerce brand or drop shipping. Again, unless you've got that expertise and you're really dedicated to it, it's something that is incredibly difficult. And we're going to go into why in just a second. But yeah, I can see a lot of you have tried it before. But for me, trading is quite simply the only way of making money that creates real freedom. Now, let me tell you why. So this is how most online businesses work. Okay, this is how most businesses work in general, really. So you have to provide you have to build your product or your service for your business. Your business then goes and looks for customers that would like to use that product or use that service. You then have to wait for your customer to come back and pay you. And then you've got your business's expenses, your costs, or whatever to run that business. And then whatever's left, you can take a portion of. Okay, yeah, pretty standard. Okay, that's how majority of businesses work. Okay, nothing fundamentally wrong with them, but are they optimal for people that want to be making money online? The problem I see here is you're relying on that end customer to be sourcing you your money. Okay, and we've seen firsthand what happens when people stop buying. Okay, when you haven't got the customer on the end of that transaction, what happens? Just looking at some of the businesses that have almost been very, very close or have failed from just last year's COVID pandemic. So for the likes of Virgin Atlantic, I don't think they actually went bust, but they had to get government grants to get them out of shit creek. But we've got the likes of Topshop, Mothercare, Debenhams, they've all gone bust. Why? Because people stopped buying from them. Victoria's Secret's another company. I think this was more so in America, but a lot of their stores have been shut down because they could not keep the lights on because people were not buying. And this is why I love the trading business model so well, or so much. Us as traders, we put our money into the markets, into these trading positions. We put these trades on. Now, granted, we know our strategy well. Granted, we've got our edge and we know what we're doing. We can put our money into the markets. We don't have to wait for somebody else to make us that money. When we make that profit, the markets give us the money back. Okay, we have nobody. We're not waiting for a consumer on the other end of this transaction to pay us. We make our own money. We have full control of how we make our own money. The only variable is the market conditions. Okay, and as long as you've got a solid strategy, you know how to find these trades in the market, It's not a case of, there's no speculation on the other end. I mean, of course there is speculation because we're speculating as traders fundamentally, but there's no speculation as to whether you're going to get paid or not. We don't have to put a product to the market and then hope that people buy it. We have our strategy that has been proven time and time again. Granted, you learn a solid strategy that's been proven for years over the markets by thousands of people in some cases. And as long as you know that that system is profitable, as long as you can learn it and execute it well, it's going to be a case of you putting the money into the markets and taking that money back out. Okay, we don't have to come up with this amazing new product or this amazing new service to put out into the market and hope that people like it and hope that people buy it. Okay, we put the money into the markets and the markets pay us some more. Okay, and again, just to clarify a few things, to some degree we do still need somebody on the other end of the transaction. If we're buying in the markets, we need somebody to be selling. If we're selling, we need somebody to buying. But if you look at it from the perspective of the market, these transactions are based on liquidity. Okay, not so much a consumer making a decision whether they want to buy your fancy new beard trimmer, for example. Okay, and the people that are on the other end of these transactions are trillion-dollar institutions, banks, for example, that are virtually recession-proof. Okay, so our small little positions that are significant to us, they're just a teardrop in the ocean compared to some of these products that e-commerce brands, for example, need to be putting into the market. Okay, and some of the benefits of having no consumer. Okay, we've got no products or services. We don't need to build any products or services or provide any products or services. We have no staff to deal with. Okay, one of the big things, dealing with staff is a huge problem. We've got no marketing costs. We have no revenue targets to keep the lights on. Okay, so like some of the companies we just looked on, they didn't meet their revenue targets. They couldn't keep the lights on. The business shut down. With trading and with having no consumer, we have very low overheads and expenses because it's quite simply us and the markets and a few little nitty-gritty bits of equipment that we need. Again, for those of you that have to go to these Monday morning meetings, no more Monday morning meetings. Okay, it's you and the markets. It's that simple. No offices or warehouse rents. So again, if you've got a team, if you're providing a product, if you've got physical products, you're going to have offices to have your staff in. You're going to have warehouses to store your products. We don't have to do any of that. And again, the best thing for me, or why I like trading so much, probably because I'm an introvert, but we have no one to deal with but ourselves. And with no consumer, we don't have to exhaust ourselves being a never-ending servant to the consumer. Now again, it's very cliche and sort of stereotypical, that trader lifestyle. But again, if you sort of boil it down and you look at some of the most successful traders, it is actually somewhat true. Of course, some of these people, for the likes of FX Lifestyle here, it's sort of become a bit of a meme. I thought I'd throw these pictures in just for a bit of a laugh. Again, if you recognise this person, put a message in the comment section. But again, forget the memes and boil it down to the actual nitty gritty. That general trader lifestyle is certainly something that is achievable. Now, why do I say that? Well, because with just a laptop and Wi-Fi, we can have all of these things. We can have that time freedom. Why? Well, because we only really trade for a few hours per day maximum. Again, we'll touch on this in a little bit in one of the next slides. We can have location freedom. Why? Well, because with just a laptop and a Wi-Fi, we're still working at an optimal level. Okay, you may see some of these traders and they've got 8 or 10 screens. They've got this huge desk setup. That's not optimal. We've got one set of eyes. We can only look at one screen at a time. So as long as we've got a laptop and we've got Wi-Fi that is not like connecting to a chip shop, we are still working at an optimal level. Okay, so again, given we've got that laptop, given we've got that Wi-Fi, there's no reason why we can't have location freedom and we can't work from anywhere in the world, whether that be your bedroom or whether that be your home office, whether that be on the other side of the world. Again, as long as you've got a laptop and a Wi-Fi, you've got your optimal setup. And we can unlock financial freedom. Why? Well, we have low overheads and high earning potential, giving us a high net cash flow. Okay, because we haven't got to worry about an office or staff or marketing costs. The only real overhead we have is maybe the capital that we've got to put into trading. But again, we're going to be looking at how you don't necessarily need capital to get started. We might need a laptop, for example, but again, it doesn't need to be anything crazy. And then a few subscriptions that maybe cost £25 a month. And then that's it. We have no other overheads. And then if you look at the potential earnings, again, I don't think I need to touch on this too much. When you can get trading right, there's a hell of a lot of money to be made in it. So again, just to touch on the freedom side and the time freedom side. This is a typical day in the life of a trader. Okay, this is a typical day in my life, for example. Okay, this is how I construct my day as a trader that favors free time more than sitting in front of the charts all day. Again, you have traders that sit in front of the markets all day, but to me, I believe that the biggest benefit of trading is the fact that you can get in the markets, you can get out of the markets after making your money, and you can enjoy the rest of your day. Okay, I don't feel like the optimal route of becoming a trader is to sit in front of the markets all day and sit in front of the computer all day. I think the biggest benefit of becoming a trader is having that freedom. So this is how my day goes. Typically wake up about 6:30. Again, it depends if it's sunny. I'm usually up at about 5:30 if it's nice and sunny out. But wake up in the morning, prep for the day. Okay, whether that be making a coffee, having some breakfast perhaps. But it usually consists of me getting up, getting onto the charts with a coffee and doing sort of pre-market analysis. Okay, so at about 8 o'clock or at 8 o'clock, that is where the markets start to really kick off and that's where we start to trade. So slightly before that, I like to just get prepared. I like to look at my charts, look at some of the trades that I'm looking to take and make sure that I'm ready, make sure that I'm awake for one. I'm ready to go and ready to start my trading day. Morning trading session, again, like I said, starts around 7:30, 8 o'clock, and that will then typically run to about 10 o'clock. Okay, so that is sort of main trading session that we're very, very beneficial to have in the UK because it's very early in the morning. We're able to get in, do our trading in the morning, and then we're typically able to get out by about 10 o'clock, having got into the markets, made our money, and got out of the markets. So essentially that is day done. From about 10 onwards, we've then got, again, all the free time to ultimately do as you please. Okay, now as long as you've got a good strategy and you've learned correctly, that morning trading session should quite easily be able to net you enough for you to meet your sort of daily quota as to potentially how much you need to make to live. You should be able to get into the markets during that trading session, get out of the markets, and then that should be your day done. You should have been in, made your money, and got out. Again, for the rest of the day, it's really sort of, you can then consume the rest of your hours doing really whatever you want. So for example, in my life at the moment, I'm doing things like this. I'm building an education company to help other people do the same. I go to the gym, walk the dog, all that sort of stuff is how I sort of fill my time. Again, whether you want to go and play golf for the rest of the day, you can go and play golf, or whether you want to go and enjoy, for example, if you're on a holiday, you can go and enjoy your holiday. Okay. But again, this is of course assuming the fact that you wanted to work whilst you're away as a trader. You should be at the point of sort of creating enough financial freedom that you can enjoy your money and you don't have to be trading when you're away. But again, each their own. Okay, and during that sort of 7:30 to 10 o'clock period, again, as long as you've got a laptop and a Wi-Fi, you can trade at an optimal level. I've got one question that came through that is quite interesting. So Dave has said, I've done trading as well, did a course at a firm in London. What I find complicated is dealing with trading psychology, as that's a good 70% of trading. How do you tackle that? Stick to a strategy. So absolutely. So the mental side is absolutely huge. The biggest and the sort of, well, the way that I recommend all of my students tackle the psychology side is just from hours in the markets. Okay, the more you ingrain what you're doing in your trading plan into your day-to-day life and into your brain, it becomes second nature at some point. Okay, and as long as your trading plan is profitable, the trading psychology naturally falls into things as well. But the only way to train your brain to get over the psychological hurdles is to have those hours in the markets. Okay, it's not going to be something you're going to pick up overnight, but it's something that you're going to naturally train your brain to do. Okay, and if at any point you begin to give up, you're going to set yourself back. Okay, so it's just about spending that time in the markets. Your brain becomes emotionally sort of detached to the money side, because ultimately it's the money that we're worrying about. So spending those hours in the markets, having a good trading plan, making sure that you're managing your risk. So again, one of the biggest worries that traders face is the fact that they're worried about losing money. Okay, so number one in your strategy should be, how do I manage risk so I'm not risking tons of money when we're trading, which is actually something that we're going to be looking at on tomorrow's lesson. But yeah, trading psychology is absolutely huge. But again, it's one of those things that's only going to come with time. So guys, right now there is more opportunity than ever. We've gone over some of the big factors as to why I believe this is such a huge opportunity. And with governments rolling out the likes of furlough, bounce back loans, lockdowns, stimulus checks if you're in America, vaccinations, cancelling Christmas, even now, or in sort of more recent times where we've seen energy prices going up, fuel prices going up, what this is doing is causing huge economical damage, and economies are trying to recover. With these economies trying to recover, with how central banks are trying to recover, they're putting these measures in place. What does this create? This creates volatility within the markets. Now, again, some of you may be flagged towards this and say, okay, well, volatility is usually a negative. As a trader, volatility equals opportunity, and opportunity equals money. And again, however some people may see this, us benefiting from what could potentially be the negative things happening in the world, at some point we have to take control of our income. And at some point we need to put ourselves in a position to win. And right now there's quite literally never been a better time to start trading or start your trading career and scale to 10K per month. So guys, again, I wanted to keep this one nice, short and sweet because we've got quite a heavy session tomorrow, and we're going to be going into the nitty-gritty of things. We're going to be looking at how you can assemble your trading battleship. So we're going to be looking at things like what platforms you need, or the essential platforms you need, and some of the systems you can use to actually do some technical analysis and begin to find some trades that are going to allow you to make money. Okay, so again, I wanted to keep this one short and sweet, just to get everybody raring to go, get everyone pumped up and ready for tomorrow's session. But again, guys, I hope you've all enjoyed. Hope you've all enjoyed today. I'll be emailing over the recording tomorrow morning. Again, guys, any questions, of course, just let me know on Instagram. I'm always there to help people. Tomorrow's session will be recorded. We'll be starting at the same time. It's been an absolute pleasure. I look forward to seeing you all tomorrow at the same time, where we're really going to get into some of the more practical side of things. I'm expecting tomorrow's session to probably run over the hour, but it's going to be very exciting and you're going to have a lot to take away with you over the weekend. Okay, guys, don't forget to enter that giveaway. Don't forget to join the Telegram channel, because that is where we're going to be managing the whole event. I'll resend all of the links and how you can set up one of your own referral links within the Telegram group. But again, guys, that is it from me this evening. I hope you're all as pumped as I am, and I will see you all tomorrow.